Welcome to the least inspiring room you will have ever seen. Come on in. This is my office. I just moved in. I haven't unpacked. It's been a month and a half. Everything I need to do my job is in boxes. My desk looks like this. There's a guitar on the floor. I don't work in here. I'm paying far too much for an apartment that has 2 bedrooms, and I'm really only using one of them right now because this room isn't set up. To say the least, it's not inspiring to work on my couch every day, and it's actually stressful. So let's talk about how to get inspired, shall we? So I'm seeing everyone post online, making the best stuff they've ever made, constantly coming up with these creative ideas, and I not only have nowhere to make anything, but that room is just a physical representation of what's going on in my mind. How am I supposed to come up with any new ideas when my mind is that? Coming up with new ideas is kind of a big part of my job. It's only a video I have to produce every week at least, in addition to reels and stories and TikToks and all of the other social media platforms that keep coming up every 5 minutes. Ideation is hard, and that is the most important part of my job. As many tools as I can find and as many tricks as I can find to help me with that process, that's what I need. So how do I live in a state of creative inspiration, and if not inspiration, at least avoiding burnout? How do I find new ideas and keep myself motivated to try and find new ideas and make things that are different and make things that are interesting? These 4 tips and tools are things that I keep in mind every time I find myself edging just towards that burnout phase. If you've clicked on this video, you too are in the same boat, and we will help each other get inspired and hopefully come up with an idea by the end of this. The first thing I like to do is have a clean space, or at least a space that feels inspiring. What this will look like in your current workspace or in your home is making sure that everything's put away neat and tidy. Or if it's your office space, same thing. At the end of the day, tidy up any loose ends, close all of your tabs on your desktop, clean your desk off. Any of those little things at the end of the day will then make entering that space the next morning much more inspiring. I'll use smell to get myself inspired and into a good flow work state. Lighting a candle not only feels like cozy and relaxing, which is a bit more of an indulgence. If you always light the same candle in your workspace, they've actually done studies and found that smell can then trigger something in your brain that puts you into that work mode. You can actually hack your brain into getting inspired with a smell. There are also studies that have shown that if you're a woman, you're more affected by your environment, and I have definitely found that, especially because I work from home. If my space isn't clean, I find it incredibly distracting. That is something I always prioritize. If you've done everything you can do to get inspired by your current environment, whether you're lighting a candle or cleaning it up, and it's still not doing it for you, then my second tip is to change your environment. So I'm a big traveler, and if you've ever noticed when you've been on a trip, you're probably super excited and super invigorated by being in that new location. That's one of my favorite things about that whole process. I get this new sense of inspiration and these new ideas based on the new environment that I'm in. But not all of us every day can pick up and go to Mexico or go to Peru. Your next best thing is to go to a coffee shop, maybe a friend's house, and have a remote working session. Any way that you can change the environment around you to give yourself a new sense of inspiration. That can just be by moving from your office to your living room, to your kitchen counter, going to a coffee shop. If you can afford it and if your lifestyle permits, you can work from Mexico. And I guarantee it'll really help you focus. You'll want to get all of your work done so that you can then go and have some fun. If you think about everything I mentioned in the first tip about being at home or being in your traditional workspace environment, there are things there that kind of get mundane. Sounds or traditions or habits that you're used to. Leaving that space and going into that new environment is not only going to activate a little bit of inspiration, it's also a different level of stimulus for your brain. The Journal of Consumer Research actually did a study and found that a certain level of ambient noise actually make you more productive, and it can also help you think more creatively. By leaving that traditional environment, you're not really attached to or associated with any of the sounds or actions that are happening around you. The idea here is to free yourself from interruption. If you're at home or you're in that office space, there are a ton of different things that could be pulling you in different directions. By changing that environment and putting yourself in that new location, you're isolating yourself into this little bubble where you can completely focus on what you need to. My next tip is to use AI. And I know all of you know about ChatGPT. This is better because it's specifically for coming up with creative content ideas that are going to be relevant and suit the platform that you're going to be posted on. This video is sponsored by Content Cloud, and I'm gonna take a second just to show you guys exactly how it works. Welcome to where your new idea is going to be birthed from. So first thing you do is write what you need in this search bar right here. So I'm gonna type in photography tip ideas for YouTube videos. Now on the left side, you'll see it gives you several articles, and on the right side, you can see that there are some personalized ideas being generated, and this is where it gets really cool. Based on the social media posts provided, here are some photography tip ideas for your YouTube videos. The first one is mobile photography. Discuss how to maximize the use of smartphones for photography. The second one is using music in photo sessions. That's a cool idea. We've got editing tips, share tips on editing photos using popular apps like Lightroom Mobile. We have creative techniques, lighting tips, photography gear reviews. These are all pretty vague right now, and I'd like to get them a little bit more specific. Down here, you can see continue the conversation. I have to actually make a lot of videos for my new Lumix that I'm working with, so why don't we say for a Lumix shooter? It says, certainly, here are some photography tip ideas for Lumix shooters that you can use for your YouTube videos. Understanding your Lumix camera, Lumix lens guide, using 4K photo mode. You can either pick one of these as is, or it's just another way for you to get a few prompts to get those creative juices flowing. If you scroll down the page, you can see there's actually an entire section with posts from other creators, so you can see what they're making in their posts or videos that are similar to what you just searched. And on the right side, you have some daily tips, so extra inspiration for you to come up with something new. I'm a big fan of AI. I was using ChatGPT a ton for my ideas before, but now I think having something even more specific and more niche like Content Cloud makes a lot more sense. If you guys want to give Content Cloud a try, you can try it for free for 14 days, and there's no credit card required. I find myself recreating the same videos on YouTube or making a lot of the same content over and over because it's safe, it's predictable, it's what I'm used to, it's easy to come up with that same idea. People seem to like it. But then I edge more towards that burnout point and I'm starting to get bored, or maybe I feel like I'm running out of ideas or nothing seems exciting. Usually it's that nothing seems exciting. It's not that you don't have ideas, it's just that you're not really motivated to come up with any new ones and they don't seem interesting to you anymore. I start to go, okay, what is interesting for me? What can I bring into a YouTube video or into my next creative project that is maybe outside of a camera review or a camera test or a lens test? How do I get myself excited about the content that I'm making? I can bring in some inspiration from other interests in my life and make something completely new and original. I have moved into this new condo. I've been here for about a month and a half. Something that's been consuming a lot of my brain space is decorating, getting this place set up in a way that feels comfortable and feels homey. So something that has been exciting for me is to film new videos in this space, especially since my new office isn't ready yet. Coming out and going through my whole morning routine here, finding little ways to actually feature parts of my home in my content and incorporate a little bit of that design into my work has been really fun, and it's sparking a different level of creativity for me. My friends Becky and Chris, for example, during COVID, they weren't feeling super inspired by what they were creating, so they started filming their home renovation projects and got really into doing that and working with their hands because they weren't feeling inspired to make the regular YouTube content that they were putting out. What I would encourage you to do is take that outside interest, that outside passion, and then combine it with whatever it is you need to be doing creatively, and you can probably come up with a new idea that excites you based on that. One thing I want you guys to take away from this video is that there is no shortage of ideas. However, there is technically a shortage of inspiration for those ideas, and let me give you an example. When it comes to pop music, there are only so many pop chords available to make a song, and that's why you may have noticed that there are so many lawsuits happening where artists are suing other artists because their songs sound similar. And that's because they're made with the same chords. And at the end of the day, your idea is technically inspired by another idea. That's okay, because the way that you are going to actually create that idea, tell that story, paint that picture, or take that photo is based on your unique perspective and you as an individual and however you've lived your unique experience. You are going to see something differently than someone else. Always know that whatever you're creating is going to be different and unique and your own creative vision because it was made from you and not from somebody else. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, then please give it a like down below and maybe tell me the idea that you came up with because of the ideas that I gave you in this video. Subscribe if you're not already and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos, and I will see you in the next one.